You have worked with UNICEF very actively, and you were recently named a global ambassador for them. What is the cause that resonates most with you?
Well, I think first and foremost, good morning, everyone. Good morning to everybody here. Thank you so much for turning up in such abundance. This is an extremely important conversation that the world needs to have. I think the one thing that we're all here to discuss today, which is education, that's such a big cause that I am hugely attached to, not because I'm some prolific a person who wants to change the world, but I think it's such a simple, basic logic to the fact that education empowers people. Education, just the fact that you have the ability to take your future in your own hands is a basic human right that cannot be denied to any child around the world. I've been associated with UNICEF over a decade now, and I was recently in Jordan at a refugee camp for Syrian children, and I had the fortune to spend about 2 days with them, going through the camps, the Zatari camps, and a bunch of camps that UNICEF had set up for these kids to be able to have access to education. And the one thing that really stood out to me starkly was that these are children who are so vulnerable to influences from around the world. These are children who can immediately feel that the world has forgotten about me. Nobody cares about me. And instead of a pen in their hand, it's very easy for them to hold on to a rifle. Just like Muhammad said, to be influenced into taking charge of my life in some other way, because no one cares about my future. And that stood out to me so much. These children just wanted school books. They wanted to be able to go to school, become astronauts, become doctors, become engineers. And every child that I spoke to in that camp wanted to return back to Syria and rebuild it. And education is what gives them that. There's a whole generation of children. When we're talking about 2030, considering the world today, there's a whole generation of kids and a whole generation we might lose if they don't have that access. So that's the cause that's most important to me.
Ms. Chopra, the final question to you. You have achieved a lot in India and in South Asia. You now live in the US and you have broken into the American film industry. Your story is one that of being a global citizen. Do you think we can ever teach children to be global citizens?
I think that's the need of the hour right now. I've traveled all over the world. I've had the amazing good fortune to work in many, many countries around the world, to meet a lot of people, to understand sort of cultures and sentiments, because I've worked with wonderful people. But I think what has happened around the globe, and this is not just South Asia, India, America, we are still bound by borders and geography. We're still bound by race and language. We are still bound by seeing our differences instead of applauding and understanding that eventually we're a human race. And we've forgotten our humanity. So I think being a global citizen is exactly that it doesn't matter where a child comes from. It doesn't matter whether he or she is from Sierra Leone, the UAE, India, America. Each child needs to have the right to be able to bring this world to a place which thinks about humanity over whose God is better, or which country is better, or a division. I think, so being a global citizen and being a global community is important, but I think children are not there yet because we haven't been able to inculcate those values that you talk about, sir, into saying that there's not a difference. Our differences is what makes us unique, but coming together is what will make the world so much better than reading the newspapers as we do this like these days, and waking up every day to something that all of us are being desensitized to now.
Your comments made me smile because I see Professor Fernando Remus standing over there. Please stand up, sir. He has written a book on global citizenship that every teacher should learn and read. Ms. Chopra, final question.
Right.
I promise you. Donald Trump.
Right. I'm so glad this question's come to me.
Living in America today, you're the only person who lives in America today from this panel, so you're qualified to comment on this. You see a lot of people who come out against him, and you see all the things that he tweets about. As an American, What do you
As
feel
an American.
As an Indian who lives in America.
As an Indian
who lives in America.
Lives in America on a work visa. Let's remember that.
So I think you may have answered it, but what is your message? Ma'am, you see in the film industry in particular, and you see society, the hashtag #MeToo movement and whatever it is. What are the lessons we should take out of this? And I think we'll conclude this panel on that question.
I think I answered your question on Trump for sure, but I think that, when it comes to what has happened with the internet and the fact that people have suddenly, it's such an incredible time to be a global citizen right now, because people, no matter where in the world they are, can have a conversation and are empowered to be able to bring their thoughts together. Women have support from other women, which is such a shocking revelation, which doesn't really happen because women are always pitted against each other. Today, somebody can have an opinion, like if you see the protest that happened, that children did in the United States just yesterday against gun control. This is empowerment. This is a generation of people that are coming out and saying, I am not going to stand for it anymore. Hashtag time's up on every level. So I do think I see hope. I see hope for this generation. I see all of us. Thank you. I see all of us coming here, sitting here together, heads of states, educators, talent, artists, coming together with the same agenda that 2030, by then, hopefully, should be a different world for the generation that we're living in today. Kids should not be subjected to the things that they are. They should be given books. They should be imagining their future. They should not have to worry about being shot in a classroom. And that goes for something that's around the world. So I see hope. I see all of us coming here together to bring hope to this exact thing that we're all trying to do, which is make the world a better place, and through education.
Please.
Thank you.